Welp, she's out. So it's official. The most heartbreaking news for Indiana Fever fans that could come of the season, but Caitlin Clark will not be returning to the 2025 WNBA season. She took the liberty of posting it herself because there were many people asking to hear from Caitlin Clark, to hear how she felt about the entire situation, because a lot of people felt like it was the front office that was kind of making all of these decisions. But she did end up taking to Twitter and posting this. She also posted on Instagram, so if anybody is on Instagram, you can check yourself. But she put, "I had hoped to share a better update, but I will not be returning to play this season. I spent hours in the gym every day with the singular goal of getting back out there. Disappointed isn't a big enough word to describe how I am feeling. I want to thank everyone who had my back through all of this uncertainty. This has been incredibly frustrating, but even in the bad, there is good. The way the fans continue to show up for me and for the Fever brought me so much joy and important perspective. I am so proud of how this team has only gotten stronger through adversity this year. Now is the time to close out the season and claim our spot in the playoffs." And they are followed by these black and white photos. Black and white seems very apropos for the situation. In this first photo, she looks very introspective. And this is her signing all the autographs, which she always did for everybody in every game, which is why she showed up and did travel with the team, because she knows just how much she means to everybody that buys those tickets. I mean, I would say at least like 90 to maybe not 95, but like 90% of the people in arenas were there to see Caitlin Clark, which of course they became fans of the Fever afterwards. But you know, Caitlin Clark is the draw. And then here's this one where she's actually in her street clothes. And yeah, these are, pretty heartfelt photos. Her in the huddle with her teammates. But I gotta say, this was quite a year. I mean, there came a certain point where people, including myself, were just like, what is actually going on? I think that it's time. It was definitely time to tell fans what was going on. There are people that travel from all over the world. There are people that go into my comments telling me, "Hi, I'm from the Philippines. I was going to take my children to see the Indiana Fever game. I don't know if I should take them. Do you think that she'll be playing in the next game?" And I can't say, because there's so much that has changed in the season. There are things that you hear behind the scenes, and then, the ankle injury happened, which changed a lot, which changed her timeline. But who really knows what was going on behind the scenes? I can only imagine how hard it was to write that up and to actually hit send on social media. She posted it about 5 minutes ago, and it already has 3.3 thousand shares, just shares, on Twitter, and 12,000 likes. And it's been viewed 690,000 times as of this moment. And this wouldn't be so hard if the WNBA offseason weren't so long. And it's a pretty short season. It's a 4-month long season. The last time she played a game was July 15th, I think it was, and she only played 13 games this season out of 44. And the irony is that they extended the season to 44 games because of all the eyes that she brought to the league last season. But the way that Steph White was talking in the interview today, it was pretty much written all over her face. It was expressed in the tone of her voice, and it just did not seem hopeful. I was pretty hopeful for a while, up until this past week, actually. But apparently, according to Chloe Peterson, who is the Fever beat writer, she just was not able to recover from her right groin injury. I don't know that the ankle had anything to do with it, but that's what Chloe Peterson is saying. She also has a quote from the GM, Amber Cox, that says, "Caitlin has worked so hard throughout this time, doing everything possible to recover and return to the court, but ultimately, time is not on our side. While we continue working with Caitlin and provide her with every resource we have available, there is not enough time left in our season for her to safely return, and her long-term health and well-being remains our top priority. We are looking forward to having her back at full strength at the start of the 2026 season." But apparently, they are being extra cautious, and the training staff is aiming to make sure that there is no long term damage to her right groin or overcompensation from other muscles to lead to other injuries. And if you're curious about her stats, she did actually average in 13 games 16.5 points, 5 rebounds, and 8.8 assists. Now, she has 8 months to recover if for some reason this recovery process still isn't progressing. And I don't actually know how they're monitoring her recovery. I don't know if in the MRI any like hyper small tissues show. Now, how could an injury like this be prevented? Believe it or not, one way could actually be playing in Unrivaled. And not because Unrivaled is fun to watch, just because Unrivaled is an actual development league and it could get her into game shape so that when she does go into the WNBA, there isn't as much of like a shock about getting in and playing against all the competitors because, she's definitely a target out there. She is like the Michael Jordan against the Detroit Pistons. I have no skin in the game. I don't care whether she does or doesn't do Unrivaled, but I think that it would definitely behoove her to get into some sort of game shape prior to going into the league, because I did speak to a sports physician and a sports surgeon who specializes in basketball injuries, and she told me that it probably is a good idea for players like Caitlin Clark to get into somewhat of a game shape before throwing themselves in to such active exercising. And I know it sounds crazy, and to be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of Unrivaled and what it looks like or watching it, but as far as a developmental league, Unrivaled, the people in Unrivaled, because I actually have been studying this and I've been comparing a lot of stats from the people that were in Unrivaled to the people that are in the WNBA, and the majority of the people that were in Unrivaled actually made big leaps this season. But I don't want to make this a conversation about Unrivaled because Unrivaled is neither here nor there. It's like I really have no skin in the game. Now, I gotta say, this news makes me really sad because, me, like many of you, Caitlin Clark is the most exciting player to watch in the WNBA. Though I am a fan of the entire league, I was just watching the Mystics play the Mercury, and I will definitely be watching the Lynx play the Aces later because that's going to be a big who is MVP game. But the truth is, there is nothing like watching Caitlin Clark. The things that she does are things that I just haven't seen in the WNBA before. And she makes the game all the more exciting. It's hard to say when this should have been brought up because there are only 3 games left in the season. And it does seem kind of late to be giving this type of information. I think that if the front offices were just a little more transparent, at least about the ankle injury, instead of trying to hide it, a lot of people wouldn't feel as hoodwinked as they do now. But having this news come from Caitlin does make the blow a little softer, because they have been shielding her from the media, which I think is a great idea because, when you have all that pressure to talk to the media, believe it or not, your stress enzymes or whatever it's called are heightened and the healing process slows. I can't imagine how heartbroken she must feel now. She is a competitor. She has to sit there and watch everybody play. And, she's one of the best out there. Knowing that she can help her team just get to another level must be so frustrating for her. But she's got support from everywhere. LeBron James commented on her Instagram, minor setback for a major comeback. Rest up and get healthy and be you. Of course, all her teammates are commenting. Lexi says 2026 is going to be the best season yet. Love you lots. Aaliyah Boston said, miss you, big dog. You'll be back with all the hearts. Connor, heart, heart, heart. Even Lisa Leslie says, so sorry, but I know this decision will be the best for your future. And Lisa Leslie was one of the big backers for her not returning because Lisa Leslie also suffered a groin injury, of which bothered her for years. Kate Martin said, love you, Cece. I'm so proud of you. Sabrina Ionescu said, you got this. Ari McDonald said, that bounce back gonna be something crucial. And of course, Tyrese Halliburton commented, 2 hearts.